Shalom. First and foremost, I want to begin by giving all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushua, Bahashem Merkakwadash, and double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone that tells us truth, and much respect to the Akim out there laboring in his work, and peace and salutations to the hopefully elect that are scattered across the four corners of the earth, to USA. Shalom. So in this lesson right here, we're going to be going into a biblical description of the destruction of America, the most famous place in the Bible, also known as Babylon the Great. And that is a mystery that has been hidden from the masses of people, but in these days has been revealed unto the Lord's chosen elect, his prophets. All right, so when you go into the scriptures dealing with the vision of the prophets, secretly and in code, they were describing this great judgment that would take place at the end of the heathen rulership before the kingdom of heaven will be established. And so what you find out is that America is what they were speaking about, and they were describing a great destruction. And that great destruction, which they did not understand at that time because everything wasn't ready, was going to be in the form of a nuclear holocaust in the midst of World War III. That would signify the end of America, this place that would burn and become as a lake of fire. All right, so we are quickly approaching that prophecy. So just to go into this article real quick, it says a nuclear attack would most likely target one of these 6 U.S. cities, but in experts says none of them are prepared. Now, according to the scriptures, we know for a fact that the entire landmass of America would be completely annihilated. There would be nothing left of America, and the end result would be a desert land after the fire settles. All right, so it says let's skip down. It says right here, the chance that a nuclear bomb would strike a U.S. city is slim, but nuclear experts say it is not out of the question. And so we know for a fact, as I just said, that this is imminent. This is a fact that will happen. So the chance of America being struck by nuclear bombs, multiple nuclear bombs, is 100%. As our Lord Yahweh, through his son Yahushua, has raised up the spirit of these other nations, starting with Russia, that will eventually shoot missiles at this place, and even America's allies. All right, and that will produce this great destruction like never before. And so without further ado, let's get into it. Now, when you go to John the Revelator, who was banished on the island of Patmos, he was visited by an angel sent from our Lord Yahushua to tell him about a future judgment, speaking about the end of the heathen rulership, Esau, Edom, the so-called white man's rulership, and the destruction of America before the kingdom of heaven will be established. And he was showed World War I, II, and III, the final war. So when you go to Revelation 9 and 12, it says one woe is past. This woe means destruction. So one woe, or World War I, is past. And behold, there come 2 more woes more after. All right, 2 more world wars. All right, so when you go up in Revelation 9th chapter, it speaks about the description of the World War I fighter planes, which looked like locusts. They were described as locusts. So that was World War I. Now, when you go to Revelation 11 and 14, it says the second war is past, right? The second world war is past, and behold, the third woe cometh quickly. This is the last and final war. All right, so that's what we're going to be getting into. Now, everyone, thinks that the Most High is out the loop, and that America and its technology is far surpassed the Most High's capabilities, and they don't understand that the Most High created all this, from the beginning. As you get in Isaiah 46 and I think verse 10. But right here, Revelation 4:11 says, "Thou art worthy, O Lord Yahushua, to receive glory and honor and power, for thou hast created all things, and for thy pleasure they are and were created." All right, so the Most High Yahweh, through his son Yahushua, has created all things for his pleasure. And when you consider the nuclear missiles that are going to be used to destroy this place, well, the Most High is the one that created that. When you go to Isaiah 54 in verse 16, it says, "Behold, I have created the smith that bloweth the coals in the fire." All right, the modern day smith would be the scientist. It says, "And they bringeth forth an instrument for his work." For whose work? The Most High's work. "And I have created the waster to destroy." And that's talking about the thermonuclear missiles. All right. So the Most High is saying that he put the thought within the mind of the scientists, the German scientists, to create, to split the atom and to create the nuclear bomb, that is made to destroy it. So when you go to Isaiah, the 9th chapter, and as I was saying before, they were shown visions of this nuclear destruction. So Isaiah 9:5, "For every battle of the warrior is with confused noise and garments rolled in blood," right? "But this shall be with burning and fuel of fire." He's making a distinction between the ancient battles of hand-to-hand combat, confused noise, hollering and screaming. And he says that this one, is going to be different. It's going to be with burning and fuel of fire by the nuclear missiles. You see that? And so when we go back to Revelation, the 17th chapter, all right, John the Revelator, he was showed the end of America. So it says, "A doom of Babylon. And there came one of the 7 angels which had the 7 vials, and talked with me, saying unto me, Come hither, and I will show unto thee the judgment of the great whore that sitteth upon many waters." That great whore is being America, all right, the land of idolatry. And it says that this place sitteth upon many waters. Now when you go to verse 15, it says, "And he said unto me, The waters which I saw as where the whore sitteth, America, are peoples, multitudes, and nations and tongues." So America, using its power and its military might, has spread its democracy and philosophies across the 4 corners of the earth. It has spread itself across all these other nations, corrupting them and ultimately making them drunk, which makes a stumble in judgment. All right. So this place, America, is likened unto a cancer. So he would show the doom of America. Now when we scroll down or scroll back up to Revelation 17 and verse 5, it says, matter of fact, before we do that, verse 2, it says, "With whom the kings of the earth had committed fornication." All right. These other nations have done deals with America. All right. They committed fornication by taking upon displaced philosophies. And the inhabitants of the earth have been made drunk with the wine or the philosophy of her fornication. Okay. Because America pushes this mindset of do as thou wilt. You can worship whatever you want to worship. You can be a homo, a transsexual, or whatever it may be. And this is a blasphemy against the Most High. So when you go down to verse 5, and it says, "Upon her forehead was a name written, Mystery Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots, and the abominations of the earth." All right. So this place, Babylon the Great, was a great mystery. So when you go to the word Babylon in the Greek 897, right here, you get Babylon or confusion. Okay. And when you go into the root word, Hebrew 894, it says Babel or Babylon, which means confusion by mixing, because all nations are welcome here in America. All right. And that is not how the Most High intended the nations to pretty much be. All right. When you go to Deuteronomy 32 and 8, the Most High separated the sons of Adam and all the other nations, according to the boundaries. And so this place, America, has pretty much pushed rebellion against the Most High. All right. They have done the opposite. So when you go down into this definition, all right, it says allegorically of Rome as the most corrupt seat of idolatry and the enemy of Christianity. All right. And the real Christians are the Israelites. Okay. So Rome was the most corrupt seat of idolatry. Anything goes in Rome. All right. And that was the enemy of the Most High back then. And it's the same today as America. It's a new Rome. See? America is a new Rome. When you look at the Colosseums and, the football stadiums and whatnot, everything is centered around what was created in Rome. That's why it says that In Revelation 13, that they should make an image of the beast, the fourth beast being Rome, all right, which came back in the form of America and its entire beast system. So now that we understand that, all right, yeah, let's go to the destruction. Now, the missiles, secretly, when you go into the scriptures, are described as arrows, stars, and brimstone. All right. Now, when you go to 2 Kings 16, in we'll start at verse 12. It says the earth quaketh. Now, why is the earth going to quake? Because of those nuclear missiles, the warheads, and the foundations thereof. So much that it says the sea ariseth up with waves from the deep, tsunamis, and the waves of it are troubled, and the fishes thereof also, before the Lord and before the glory of his power. For strong is his right hand that bendeth the bow. The bow represents the silos, and his arrows, which represents the missiles, that he shooteth are sharp and should not miss when they begin to be shot into the ends of the world. You see that? So they're going to be shot from the ends of the world. So you know that a regular bow and arrow cannot be shot from one end of the earth to another. So what could this be talking about? Could this be speaking about intercontinental ballistic missiles? I think so. So it says 14, behold, the plagues are sent. These are known as plagues, and should not return until they come upon the earth. So from these arrows, the fire is kindled and should not be put out till they consume the foundation of the earth. Now, the landscape of America, the whole landscape will be completely consumed by fire. And also the land of Israel as well. All right. These arrows are going to come from the east. All right. Another vision given to Isaiah 13, verse 1. It says prophecies about Babylon, the burden of Babylon, which Isaiah, the son of Amos, did see. You see that? So when you go down to verse 5, it says they come from a far country. What is he speaking about? The missiles. From the end of heaven, even the Lord Yahweh, Ba'ashem El-Shai, and the weapons of his indignation, as we just brought out in Isaiah 54 and 16, to destroy the whole land. And this is talking about the whole land of America. Howl ye, for the day of the Lord is at hand. It shall come as a destruction from the Almighty. So when these missiles are shot, once they touch down, they're going to cause a great explosion. All right. Now, when you go to Revelation 6, in verse 12, it says the sixth seal, terror. It says, now beheld, when he had opened the sixth seal, and lo, there was a great earthquake. As just read in 2 Kings 16, the earthquake of a great earthquake, and the sun became black as sackcloth of hair. Now, why would the sun become black? Because when these missiles hit, smoke is going to come up in the air. All right, soot, thick, dark smoke is going to come up in the air and block the sun out. All right, it says, and the moon became as blood. It says, and the stars of heaven fell unto the earth. Now, the stars are the missiles, the nuclear warheads. They're going to fall unto the earth from the sky, even as a fig tree casteth her untimely figs. So just imagine a strong wind gusting against a fig tree and the figs falling off. You know, and those figs hitting the ground. It's going to make a lot of thumping sounds. All right, so that's symbolic for the missiles falling to the earth. As you read in the NLT, it says, then the stars of the sky, which are the missiles, fell to the earth like green figs falling from a tree shaken of a strong wind. All right, verse 14, and the heaven departed as a scroll. The heaven, speaking about the sky, departed as a scroll when it is rolled together. Now, this is talking about the mushroom cloud. When you roll a scroll together, it looks like a mushroom cloud. All right, and every mountain and island were moved out of their places. NLT, the sky was rolled up like a scroll, and all the mountains and islands were removed from their places. All right, so this is talking about the nuclear destruction. And so the Lord is going to put in the minds of these other nations, starting with Russia, to shoot these missiles. Let's go to Jeremiah 50. All right. Prophecy against Babylon again. All right. So let's go down to verse 3. So it says, for out of the north, all right, over there in Russia, there come up a nation against her, which shall make her land desolate, that her is America, and none shall dwell therein. They shall remove, they shall depart, both man and beast. Now let's read this in the NLT. For a nation will attack her from the north and bring such destruction that no one will live there again. See that? Everything will be gone, both people and animals will flee. Okay? So this is the prophecy of America. Nothing will be able to survive the nuclear destruction that's coming from Russia and also these other nations as well. As the Lord said, it's going to be like overkill, man. Yep. Jeremiah 13, all right. It says, because of the wrath of the Lord, it shall not be inhabited, but it shall be wholly desolate. Everyone that goeth by Babylon shall be astonished and hiss at all her plagues. This is after the destruction. So it says, put yourselves in array against Babylon round about. The Lord is causing all these nations to rise up against America. All ye that bend the bow, everybody that got nuclear capabilities. It says, shoot at her and spare no arrows, no missiles, right? For she have sinned against the Lord. So this is the wrath of Yahweh Shema Shah against America, the most wickedest place that has ever been on the face of the earth. And this is going to be that place that is going to look like a lake of fire. Now, before this destruction happens, you're going to have the elect or the remnant who are going to be raised up out of that madness, all right, before the end of the nation comes. So when you go to Revelation 11 and 12, it says, and they heard a great voice from heaven saying unto them, come up hither. Now this is our Lord Yahweh Shai returning to save his people from the destruction. And they ascended up to heaven in a cloud. That cloud represents a so-called UFO. And their enemies beheld them. Everybody in America, right? In the same hour, there was a great earthquake, the nuclear destruction, and the 10th part of the city fell. America split up into 10 FEMA zones. And in the earthquake were slain of men 7,000. 7 means completion. So it says, and that remnant were frightened. And so before we were, beamed up and saved from the destruction, we were frightened. It tells in 1 Peter 4 and 17, matter of fact 4 and 18, that we would scarcely be saved. It says, and gave glory to the God of heaven. See? And that's going to be the end of the destruction of America. So once we're beamed up, when you go to Revelation, the 15th chapter, it says, verse 2, it says, and I saw as it were a sea of glass mingled with fire. Now this is John the Revelator seeing himself being beamed up and saved from the destruction. So he says, and I saw as it were a sea of glass mingled with fire. All right, this sea of glass represents the firmament, and up under the firmament is America burning. So it looks like a sea of glass mingled with fire. And them that had gotten the victory over the beast. All right, the Lord said, come up hither. So the elect were beamed up. And over his image, all right, this corrupt rulership, Esau's beast system, his philosophies, and over his mark, the chip, and over the number of his name, okay, stand on the sea of glass, having the hearts of God. And they sang the song of Moses, the servant of the Most High Yahweh, and the song of the Lamb, Yahweh Shai, saying, great and marvelous are thy works, Lord power almighty, just and true are thy ways, thou King of saints. All right. So right at the destruction of America, you're going to have the remnant, the elect, who will be beamed up and saved from their enemies and the destruction. And they're going to give praises to Yahweh by Shema Shai, and it's going to be the end of the story. And from that point on, the kingdom of heaven will be established in the earth under our Lord Yahweh Shai. So with that, Lord willing, you're edified. Till next time I say, Shalom.